the next 30 minutes. We'll go over the public hearing for the budget, and then the first item is review the annual service plan.
And so we have
Okay.
we have a brief PowerPoint we wanted to share for the public. So Karen, you can go ahead and move it to the next slide. So we're required annually to do an annual service plan, budget plan, and hold a hearing. So I just wanted to go into some of the details. So the annual service plan has a description of services to be provided by each district. And if you want to look in your packet, in E1, the annual budget plan is there, followed by the annual service plan, and we'll talk about them specifically after the PowerPoint. So they have to tell the nature and the location of the service to be provided, and must include alternative schools, community day schools, and county jail facilities. The annual service plan, all students with IEP shall have access to services and instruction appropriate to their needs as indicated in their IEP. And then there has to be a plan for how they're going to access those services. And the report is based on the December 1 pupil count. December 1 is a shot in, a moment in time, and a snapshot. And whereas the June 30th is every kid we've served throughout the year. So this is based on who we had in December 1. Then you can look and see the caseness codes of 200s, 300s, etc. to 900. And the 900 codes, as I share every year, if we use those, they would be something outside of all those other codes, and we would have to write a verification to the CDE. In this WESELPA, we do not use 900 codes. And then the annual budget plan has to be reported WESELPA-wide. And what's new this year is because it's prospective, it's on a 9-district basis because it's what we will be next year. So it's the 9 districts. It has to talk about program funding, administrative costs, and if you look at your budget plan, you'll see it goes right in this order. Severe disabilities and low incidence, non-severe, supplemental aids and services in gen ed, and regionalized services and program specialists. The funding sources, we look at federal, state, and local contributions. Local would be the general fund. The purpose is to give the state, the CDE, a profile of the WESELPA. So the annual service plan provides information about access to services. The annual budget plan is about funding. And then another report, this is another report that we've already submitted to the CDE, and it's not required under this hearing, but just letting you know, is the personnel data report, and that shows the support data. We're required to hold a public meeting, a public hearing. The notice went out, I believe, around the 1st or 2nd of May, and it was with an email to all secretaries of the superintendents. Please have this posted at every site in your district. So it was posted in each district and school, and I've been in Upland most of this week for a comprehensive review they had by the CDE, and it was posted right there at the district office. The public hearing has to be held by the WESELPA, and then the plan is adopted at our subsequent Superintendents Council meeting later this morning. Ted will sign off on a form, and we'll send it to the CDE, and the deadline is June 30th. Karen's doing double duty there. Okay, so when we're all done, we send it to the CDE, they approve it, and it's to be held in each of our districts, and actually it already is because you have it in your superintendent's packet. Okay, and so now Tim and I will review the annual service plan and the budget plan that the public has a copy of, and the superintendents have in your packets under E1. So if you want to go to E1, on the agenda we have the service plan, so we'll do that first, but the budget plan comes first in your packet. So if you go to the pages with the big black X's, you can see that every service code available in California through the CDE is there. And Michelle Brown in our office has run a report that shows which ones are adopted by our SELPA, which ones have been modified, and which ones are not currently being used. So for example, you'll see that we do not have any medical services for 0 to 2-year-olds because there's no need. This year when she ran the report, there's not an IEP or IFSP with those services. And so it goes on through like that. If we were to modify, we'd have to write a rationale to the CDE. We do not have any modified, and we do not have any 900s, as I said earlier. Morning. So then if you go to the pages that start out with Altaloma, and it's the report for every district in the SELPA, you will see that by site, it tells you the codes that were pulled that are being used or being provided to children on that campus. So for example, the first one, Rhodes Elementary 330, is SAI, Specialized Academic Instruction, 415 is speech, and so forth. So this will be brought to the superintendents this morning for approval during the council meeting. And I'll turn it over to Tim.
Thank you. If you want to go ahead and flip back to the beginning of item E1, because the annual budget plan is actually before the service plan in your packet. So the annual budget plan identifies the expected cost of special education for the upcoming school year. This is for the West End SELPA as a whole. So West End SELPA, as in Susan's department, West End Student Services, as in Peggy's department, as well as the 9 member districts. If you want to flip to the page after the narrative, you can see the actual certification that we submit to CDE. This is something that County Superintendent Ted Alejandre will sign after it's approved at the subsequent Superintendents Council meeting. The page after that is the actual form we submit for the annual budget plan. It's form ABP-01. It's a 1-page form. You can see the instructions column in the middle. There's a section A, or row A, is for revenues, and then the remaining rows all for special education expenditures. They have us pull everything by goal code, so it very closely mimics what we do for our maintenance of effort report. If you want to flip one more page over, you can see my summary. And you can see on the far right column, there's a little note, ABP-01. Any number that has that note next to it carried over to the form that we just saw. And if you can just look at the total, we're projecting about $191 million SELPA-wide for special education costs for next year. Again, this is the 9-district SELPA for next year. And the amount of federal, state revenues is more like $75 million. So you can see the vast difference in how much gets paid with either prior year fund balance or most likely general fund contributions. One more page after that is just the detail by district. And you can see the first half of the table has expenditures. We get the expenditures for the SELPA and for West End Student Services. We actually submit our budgets in February, so I'm able to pull those numbers directly from our accounting system. And for districts, I have to use your second interim maintenance of effort report to get most of this information since I don't have access to your new budgets just yet. Besides that, I also had to estimate how much we're expecting each district to pay out to Ontario Montclair, since that's a new expenditure that districts will have. Instead of a deduct to revenue, you'll be actually paying Ontario Montclair directly. And then the table below it, the revenue side of the house, those come from our AB 602 projections and our mental health projections that you saw last month. Besides that, we have several other grants. We use our current year grant awards to project what we're expecting to receive for the next school year. Were there any questions on the annual budget plan. Thank you.
I just have a point of clarification, Susan. I don't know if this is the opportunity to just, I can project. Thank you. If you can't hear me, let me know, please. Just with respect to some of the appendices on there where OMSD is noted on the service plan, I don't know if you want to take questions now or you want to wait till the meeting of the Superintendents Council. Dr. Hammond had asked me to see some clarification on as to why Ontario Montclair School District is noted throughout that service plan.
It would be because of the students with severe disabilities who are going to be served by OMSD.
So it's the current MOU that's still in existence or that we've initiated?
Yes.
Okay, so it's all based on...
Under the MOU, and the districts have already turned in intents to have students go there. And so we need to share where are those students being served. So that would be the reason.
So each of the school sites that would have been listed there, because I know there's several on the appendices that are listed by individual school name. That's those. Each of those school sites have identified students.
Because it's based on our case in the school of where those students are now. So as best we know, because this is as best we know prospectively for next year,
Yeah.
there's students that would continue in those programs is the assumption.
Where students are currently served. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we're open for public input, and we have David Palmer.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just wanted to share that I would appreciate maybe less money being spent on litigation and more money going directly to the needs of our children. I'm a little puzzled by the total of $191 million. Now that you're down a district, my recollection from a year or maybe 2 years ago was that the total annual budget was $183 million. So you're nearly $10 million up in one large district down. And I don't believe that that extra approximately $10 million is going to the needs of our children. At the last Superintendents Council, the public became aware of not only the X-pot, which is used to litigate against children, but there's 2 additional pots of money that the superintendents were negotiating over how to pay back Ontario Montclair from those additional reserve pots of money. So, as I said, last meeting, the public became aware of now 3 pots of money that are used to litigate against children and the parents who advocate for them. So I would ask that the money be spent on actual services for our children, so that when we attend an IEP, we're not told there is no money. We're told that, yes, this is a needed service. You have professionals that are suggesting these services. Yes, we will provide those services to help your child get benefit from their education and to progress in their education. Thank you.
Okay, Martina Ortega.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Superintendent, for being here. I see 4 right now. And my concern is with some services that are not currently utilized, specifically 745 reading services. There's indicators that WESELPA didn't meet, and I believe that sometimes when you don't utilize certain services, that's why you don't meet your objectives. And I would like to see what that reading services entails. I have asked in other budget meetings, and I've never gotten clarification of that reading services and what it entails. Is it for, for specific learning disabilities, specifically dyslexia? Is it for, what is it for, and why is it not being utilized? We have so many kids going into high school that cannot read, and they're ending up with a diploma at a 3rd grade level, reading level. So we need to address this, and this is a big concern because reading is a life skill. If the kids can't read a danger sign, a menu, what kind of life are they going to lead? So please, elementary schools specifically, make sure your kids know how to read before they go to high school. Give them a purpose in life. Don't let them rely on social services. Thank you.
All right then, thank you very much. And this will go ahead and conclude the public hearing and input in 9:15, and so then we will gather back at 9:30. Thank you very much.